Well, hello again, all you good-looking guys and gals and everything else. I'm not gonna, whatever. It's 2025. You can't assume that stuff anymore, I guess. Um, so yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Sturgis and some of the rides that I am going to for sure do while I'm there. So, if there's anything I forgot, I'm going to say it right now. I may not mention your favorite ride just because. Hello. There are so many really, really, really good rides in the Sturgis area. Spearfish Canyon, Vinegar Canyon, Iron Mountain, Needles, the Badlands. The road to Deadwood is is decent for being what it is. So let's begin with the elephant in the room, and that is that, as far as I'm aware, US 385, I believe, is going to be torn up again this summer. So there probably will be some gravel. There'll probably be all sorts of mess in that area south of Hill City, or is it? Maybe it's between Hill City and Deadwood. But yeah, that's going to be all torn up by the reservoir. So expect that to be torn up again. I thought I read last year that it was like a 2 or 3 year project they were working on to redo 385. So yeah, whatever. That is what it is. So if you're coming from Hill City and going up to Deadwood or yeah, expect that to be torn up. So let's start with what I would consider the easier rides, and those are Spearfish and Vinegar Canyon. Vinegar Canyon is a really, really laid back and easy ride. It's a great ride to start with. The the East Sturgis exit, the road that runs north and south into town. I forget what. I'll put it down in a subtitle or something, what the road is called through Sturgis, and I want to say it's exit 37 off of I-90. If you go south, south out of Sturgis, you're on Vinegar Canyon Road. Like I said, really good ride, nice and easy, decent curves. The scenery is just kind of but it's a ride that even as a beginner you can do. It's not overly technical. Take your time, but it's a good starting ride. It really is. When it comes to a little bit more advanced, you've got Spearfish Canyon. Beginner to intermediate level. You head to the town of Spearfish, just south of I-90, and you end up on the Spearfish Canyon Highway, or Spearfish Canyon Byway, I think it is. And it'll take you by the Spearfish Canyon Lodge. Word of the wise, the Spearfish Canyon Lodge, well, it's neat to stop at for a little bit. And I didn't stop there last year, but 2 years ago, food and drink just, I don't know. I didn't stop. I didn't even think about eating at the lodge. They had a couple of food trucks outside, but it was pricey. I think they wanted like $12 for a burger or something like that. It was just, no thank you. So but Spearfish Canyon Lodge, it's not a bad place to stop for a few minutes. And there's the Spearfish Canyon ride in and of itself, a little more technical than Vinegar Canyon. Better scenery because you're actually legitimately in a canyon. The highway goes literally through a canyon, so yeah. And in addition, the Spearfish Canyon Byway will take you and get over to, it'll take actually both of them, Spearfish Canyon or Vinegar Canyon, will take you to, I forget what the state highway is, but it'll take you back towards 385, and then you can head up to Deadwood. Um, Deadwood's really cool. You're going to be in Deadwood a couple times, be it to hit the casinos or to walk down Main Street, or yeah, Deadwood's just really really cool. Um, Word of the wise, if you're not going to be in a medium shirt or smaller, um, a lot of the places in Deadwood tend to sell out of shirts, so go earlier. Um, I'll give you an example. Last year, I went to, I went, might have been Sunday. It was the first time I went into Deadwood. And I went to I think I went to Saloon Number 10, which, by the way, is not where the old Saloon Number 10 that Wild Bill got shot at. Um, I forget where, but there's another establishment that's at the old Saloon Number 10 location. You can look on the Google and figure out exactly where it is and what it is now. But I went there. I want to say it was either Sunday or maybe Monday, and no, it had to be Sunday because I think Monday I went and went to Gillette and then up to um, Devil's Tower. Why the hell could I not think of it? Devil's Tower in Wyoming. Which, pro tip: do not go to Devil's Tower on Tuesday because, yeah, you're going to be going right back through, on the way back from Alzada, Montana, and Alzada, Montana at the Stonehouse Saloon or Stoneville Saloon or whatever it is. That's where Topless Tuesday is, and yeah, it'll be a mess. But yeah, Deadwood. They sell out of T-shirts early in the week, so just know that's what happens there. Whoop whoop. So you've got so that's Spearfish and Vinegar, which are definitely beginner to a little slightly intermediate rides. I'm going to hold off on the two intermediate to advanced level, which are, of course, going to be Iron Mountain and Needles, and the whole debate of, well, which one's better than which? That's up to you. They both have really, really good scenery. So longer distance options you have. We'll start with the Badlands. From Sturgis, you're about 100 miles to Wall, and Wall is going to be your entry point to get to the Badlands. Wall Drug, of course. It's not a bad place to stop. You get something free if you're a vet. So I don't know if I can't remember if it's a free coffee with a donut or free donut with a coffee. If you get a free coffee and donut, I don't know. But you get something for free if you're a vet. So if you are, number one, thank you for your service. Number two, it's a cool place to walk around, get your free donut, get your whatever you get for free there, and yeah, it's Wall is kind of cool to stop at for a minute. In addition, they got decent amount of gas stations, so you can fill up, and then you've got, and then you go into the Badlands. You will have to buy a pass to get into the Badlands. The one you get, unless you have one of the America the Beautiful cards. I want to say active duty get in free. I'm not sure about vets. Vets might get in for free as well. I'm not sure though. Check out the National Park Service's website to figure that out. But the Badlands Loop itself is a pretty decent ride. I would ride through the loop. Stop at one or two of the view areas, and what's the old saying? I can't believe somebody actually crosses a covered wagon way back when. Yeah, it's you look at that rough landscape, and you're like, how did people cross this back in the day? Um, but yeah, it's kind of cool to see. There's probably 5 or 6 actual pull-offs, parking lots, and they all have outhouses and stuff. So if you need to stop and use the facilities, there's something there. In addition, the visitor center, you can pick up some stuff, some tourists, some souvenirs and stuff. In addition to, they'll actually have plumbing toilets. Um, Out of there, I would actually head south on out of the park and run down. I think it's Highway 44. Stop in the town of Interior, South Dakota. There's a couple of bars and stuff in there. One of which is Lulu's, which that's where I normally stop at, and I'll have lunch. Um, and then you ride back to Rapid on 44. It's not spectacular, but it's not a bad ride. The Badlands is by far the highlight. Um, do you need to do it every year? No, but it's something I would do at least every other or every third year, um, because you are taking a full day to do it, because you're talking probably around 250, 300-ish miles total. A truly long distance option would be to go to Little Bighorn. Um, Now, you are legitimately 4 hours away from Bighorn, so it's going to be a full day ride. If you're into history, it's definitely worth checking out. Uh, I would recommend you take one of the best bus tours on the battlefield. I think they're worth it. They cost you like $20 a person, and yeah, they're cool. Um, but you can just ride through the park and look at all the various spots where, where they've got it marked with a monument where Custer actually fell. Um, but it's cool. I might do that again this year because I didn't do it last year. I did the Badlands. If I do go out early, I probably will do both the Badlands and Bighorn, but I don't know yet. If I only do one or the other, I'll probably do the Badlands again. Just know that's going to be, you're going to be away from your domicile during the rally for 12 hours at least, because like I said, you're 250 miles there, 250 to 300 miles back, depending on if you go through Gillette and Sundance, or if you go the direct way. I would personally do one way on 212 and the other way coming back on 90. Just that way you can go through some of the towns that are on 90. Yeah, that's what I would do. But hey, you do you, boo boo. Um, I don't know why that trans temp gauge keeps sticking. Um, I may have to replace that at some point, but it's fine. This is fine. Um, but yeah, like I said, I would go one way on 212 and then one way coming back on 90. Um, you're you can't quite do, if you're staying in Sturgis, you can't really do Beartooth, because you're probably 350, 400 miles to get there, and the same distance coming back. But it's definitely one of those rides that if you're in the area and can do it, it's definitely worth doing. It's the Beartooth Highway, but like I said, yet again, it's just too far away to do without staying somewhere in that area for an overnight. So let's go back to the Black Hills and finish up with talking about the two best, arguably two of the best, probably top 5 rides in the entire country, and that's Needles and Iron Mountain Road. Um, Personally, I think Iron Mountain is slightly better than Needles, but you know, if you like Needles better, I get it. I completely get it. Um, Needles Highway, well, either way, if you're coming from Rapid, you do Iron Mountain first. Do Iron Mountain, which I'm actually wearing a shirt from Iron Mountain Road. I don't know if you can see it on there or not, but yeah, Iron Mountain Road is 16A. You take 16 out of Rapid to Keystone. 16A shoots off just before you get into Keystone. 16 heads direct to Hill City, while 16A heads through Keystone. And then I want to say it's South Dakota 244, splits off, goes direct back to 385, and goes by Rushmore. In fact, 244 is what you take to go to the Rushmore Monument. And then shoots it's so 16A shoots off of 244 and heads to do Iron Mountain Road. It is like 12 to 15 miles. It has like 200 and something curves, and like 3 tunnels, a couple of splits, a couple of pigtails. Yeah, it's a really, really good ride. And the only reason I say it's better than Needles is you've got the pigtails, you've got the view coming out of a couple of tunnels of Rushmore. It's a way more wooded area than Needles. But yeah, either way, it's one of my favorite rides in the entire country. Now, to be fair, I haven't done a ton of the truly great rides. I mean, I've done, I did the Valley Fire in Nevada. That was kind of cool. Hot, but cool. I've done the Dragon. I've done the Triple Nickel in Ohio. I've done, yeah, I've done some of the really, really good rides. I have not done Beartooth. I have not done the Back of the Dragon. I have not done, a bunch of them. But, we're going to get in there somewhere, sometime. But I would say of all of those, by far, Iron Mountain is my favorite. And then that brings us to Needles. I forget what the state highway is that is technically Needles Highway. I want to say it's like 86, 80 something. I could be wrong. But between Needles and Iron Mountain, I would definitely at least once do the wildlife loop. Now, you could skip it and stay on 16A and stop in Custer. In fact, I would recommend you stop in Custer, the town of Custer. I think it's Custer. I might be wrong. But there's a town after you do Iron Mountain. They have gas. They have, I think they got a McDonald's and stuff. They got somewhere that you can stop and get something to eat or and fuel up. And pro tip, I would never let your fuel gauge when you're out riding serious, when you're out riding in that area, go much below half the tank, because you may not know when the next time you're going to be able to get fuel is. So keep it at least at half a tank and you'll be good. Fuel prices throughout the entire region, they all tend to be pretty close. They might see a difference of like maybe 10 cents a gallon throughout the area. Stupid light. I probably could have made that, but he was in the wrong lane. Stupid F1 shitty. Um, but so there's that. Needles Highway. Yeah, it's more of a rugged terrain than the Iron Mountain is. So if you're into that, you've got the huge spires that are shooting up. There are a lot of pine trees. This whole area is pretty covered in pine trees. There are a few broadleaf trees as well, but not as many as you would think. Um, and like I said, Needles is a way more rugged landscape than compared to Iron Mountain. Um, but the ride itself is probably about as good. Needles has 2 or 3 tunnels. There are no pigtails. There are a boatload of switchbacks, some steep and severe banks. Like I said, good ride, but just because of the pigtails, I happen to think that Iron Mountain is slightly better. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much all the roads I'm going to talk about. All the rides I'm going to talk about. If you have something else that you really like doing, drop it down, please, because I'm still somewhat new to this. I've only been going. This will be my 4th year. Um, so I don't know all the hidden gems. I'm sure there's a lot that I didn't mention. And if you've got one you like, say what it is, because yeah, I'm an idiot and I'm always eager to learn more stuff. And that's kind of why I do a lot of this stuff, is because I want to learn more too. And how do you learn? By asking the questions. And I'm sure there's guys out there that like more than this. So anyway, guys, be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, tag your friends if you think they'd be interested in any of this stuff. Until next time, you all be safe. Keep that shiny side up, that greasy side down. And hopefully next time I catch you, it'll be maybe next weekend. I'll actually be on the bike for a change. Later, guys.